Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Hello.
How are you?
Sunday.
Happy
Sunday.
Sunday.
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Listen, we had a hot week this week here. If you were here, I'm here to tell you. So I've been under the weather since last week. So I spent the entire time during Memorial Day in the bed. Finally got all these days off. Just went back to work Friday. But I finally got outside yesterday and it was hot. How did y'all feel? Well, what is it like there in Georgia?
No, that's what I was about to say. You guys, weather is hotter than ours. I think our high was like 83, like 81 today. Yeah, you guys reached 90. We haven't reached 90.
I know we were reaching 90 because it was bullets, barbecues, and battles.
Man,
Everybody came out, huh?
Yeah. And what was the last B you said? Bullets, barbecue, and what?
And battle season. So everybody that had hyphenated a beef and it's hot. And I'm gonna tell you, it didn't help. It was the first of the month. That's the perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because everybody were out yesterday.
Oh man, I tell you, we saw a lady who was practically naked walking down the street.
Like, I mean,
I did not have to use my imagination at all.
Yeah. She was just
out.
But I'm gonna tell y'all this joke right quick. Aaron says, "Why would she do that?" I said, "So you could be talking about it a week later." He was like, "That's why they do that." You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And maybe they had some type of rejection, like today's podcast is. That's a sure way to get some attention, right?
Yeah, good point. Yes, good, definitely.
So listen, today, everybody, if you were here last week for part 1 of the May was mental health awareness, we brought it over into June because we felt like we needed a second part. But we're going to talk about the rejection and how that could tie into mental health issues, and how it could play a role on how people respond in certain situations. So that's where we're talking to today. And then we're going to introduce, because they're really not guests. They're guests, but they're not guests. They kind of like family at this point.
Yeah.
So Aaron, I'm gonna ask all y'all, where are we
Hold
going
on. To? Hold on, I gotta ask it because you're gonna forget.
Oh, okay.
Where are we going today?
All the way there.
Where are we going today? All the way there. Let's go. Where are we going today? Where are we going today? Where are we going today? Where are we going today?
And just so people know that our introduction was made by Aaron Gladman. So if you guys ever needs commercials,
good job,
whatever, he does it all. So first of all,
strategies, I definitely need that. I said, boy, this podcast came a long way. The production budget done went through.
Baby, our production crew done increased in numbers. Let me tell you something. Tquan, you came on when we first got started, okay? So you can see
the progress.
No, that's nice right there. Like,
and that's the way it should be, right?
Right.
We should be progressing.
That's right.
So listen, everybody, we got a good icebreaker today. But before we actually formally allow our guests to introduce ourselves, we're going to allow Aaron to give us the icebreaker. So
All right. The icebreaker is today. Name 2 times where you felt rejected. One in your youth and one in your adulthood. And how did you deal with both?
Okay.
Ladies first.
You want me to go or?
Go ahead.
So I'm Patsy Herndon. So as a child, I think I'm trying to remember vaguely in elementary school. It's like that's so long ago. My brain ain't as vivid that long ago. But I think it was remembering that a little kid didn't want to be my friend, but of course I went to school with my twin. And she is like nowhere like that. She don't care if you like her, don't like her, breathe on her, don't breathe on her. And I was upset. She was like, girl, that don't matter. Because she was like my protector, sort of,
Right.
kind of. You know that because you went to school with us. She was kind of my protector, but she said, don't worry about it. But I cried. I felt like it was the end of the world. And I felt like I need to be their friend. And what did I need to do to be their friend? Did I do something? Like I personalize a lot, internalize it. Like, what did I do? You know, what can I do? You want my ball? You want my sandwich? You know, what do you want? And as an adult, I can remember going for an interview. And I really, 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 really wanted that job. And I was in the top, top to get picked. And I got rejected. And to me, how I handled it initially, it wasn't that great. I felt like I was defeated, like what's wrong with me? I'm not good enough, da 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 da. But I had to figure out, I used my spiritual side and just was like, maybe that wasn't just for me. And that was God protected me because it wasn't a year later, the whole department shut down.
Ain't that how it look at God?
Girl, I'm telling you.
Won't he do it?
Yeah, won't he do it?
First of all, don't come for me. But let me tell you. So for me, as a child, I remember, and my mother, she's actually on this line, so she can vouch for this story. This girl telling me that she didn't want to play with me. She didn't want to be my friend because she wanted me to choose between her and another friend. First of all, I'm not doing that because I could be friends with everybody. And that's just the way I am. And I'm going to. So I took all of my stuff and I said, I'm going home and you will be back because I got all the toys. And I know that's a really true story. But my mother always remind me of that story because she said, even as a child, you were able to, if somebody didn't want to be bothered with you or they felt like you was just like, whatever. And even as an adult, I think sometimes we process things different as an adult because, it's the little other ties sometimes that could be in there. But even now, I'm just kind of like, people are here for seasons. Sometime, long time, and sometimes they aren't. And I think once you realize that process, it's not so hard to let some things go.
Right.
So what about you guys? Tquan.
Mr. Tquan.
Well, mine is almost along the lines with Aaron. It was it's comedic now. It wasn't then. I was kicked out of Sunday school.
You was always kicked out of
Oh my
God. I was kicked out of Sunday school. And it hurt my feelings because it wasn't even really me that was doing it, but I was deemed because the godmother was over the youth department. I was supposed to be the perfect one. So I didn't necessarily do it, but I could tell people to do stuff and they would do it. And they was like, that's Odie's godson did that. He did. So I got kicked out of Sunday school. All right. It didn't scar me because I'm a deacon now. So
look at God. Look at
God.
Like you said, Patsy. Then the lady quit like 2 months later anyway. So yeah. As an adult, I think it wasn't until I became a father that I fully embraced being rejected or not affiliated with my biological, because I wanted to know if I can do this starting at age 18. And I'm doing what I don't even know how to do. I'm managing the stresses and the stressors of being a father. Why couldn't you do it?
Right.
When I reached out, because one time I went and sat outside his house and I was going to wait for him to come out. It was me and Remy Martin, but God didn't see fit for that. No, I'm serious, Aaron. I was on Glenfield and Gratiot. I sat in front of
Oh,
his.
wow.
Yeah. But later on, when I was mature enough, I reached out to try to talk to him and found out he had passed like 3 months earlier. So I was angry, but I was settled in the fact in my spirit that this is how God wanted. I don't know why, but this was better. And then I finally reached out to one of my biological brothers, and he told me, he said, "You a lot better for not knowing him."
Wow.
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 See,
Mm.
look at
Okay.
God.
That's right.
Here's mine, and I'll go fast because people think I take too long to talk. Okay, so look, as a child, I used to like this girl in elementary school. She was so pretty, and I didn't know how to approach her, so I wrote her a letter, and I mustered up enough nerve. I didn't even give it to her, but I asked my friend Marcus to give it to her, and so he gave it to her in front of me, and she read it and looked at me like, and she had this look like this.
Oh!
And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I felt so rejected, right?
Right.
So I met up with her about 2 summers ago. I saw her 2 summers ago. She lives out of town. And I said, you remember what you did when I gave you that letter? She's like, yeah, I remember that. And I said, why did you do that? And she said, I wasn't rejecting you. I was rejecting your spelling. Because you were supposed to write, I like you, do you like me? But you wrote, I lick you, would you lick me?
Okay, I have to be clear. How old were you?
I was
I'm
10,
5.
like 10.
10?
Yeah. I was like 10 years
Aaron,
old.
and guys,
5th
just so
grade.
you fully know, he's a journalist now. So look at God.
Yeah, fully educated.
Yeah, right.
Fully educated. Yes.
So, but we had a good laugh about that. But I didn't even remember misspelling anything, but I did. She said I did LIK without the E. Anyway, as an adult, I had a friend. Some of us on this podcast know this guy, and we were asked to take a vehicle to a church out of state. We did, and I was given some petty cash, and I was like, okay, this must be for the gas. That's cool. So we on our way. He stops at a gas station. He gets out, and he's on the phone, and he's pumping gas. And so I'm thinking, well, you don't need this money yet. Maybe we'll use it down the road. Long story short, he gets back in the truck in the van and says, yeah, he's here. No, he didn't give it to me. No, he's standing right here. And I'm like, are you talking about me? He's like, yeah, I'm talking about you. I said, well, what? Why are you setting me up like I'm stealing? And he was like, well, you ain't giving the money? Well, you just got out of the truck and started pumping gas. I said, all you had to do was say, hey, man, let me have that money for this gas, and I would have gave it to you. But you got out and started pumping gas on the phone. And so I felt like, dang, our friendship didn't mean nothing. Wow. I mean, we had a good 3-year friendship where we had each other's backs. And you sold me out, and the bottom line was he was trying to look good in front of people higher in those ministries, that he would just throw me under almost literally under the bus. So how I handled it, huh?
No, you were about to say it. You were about to answer what I said.
Yeah, how I handled that was I just cut the dude off because I could not put myself in the same position again. Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen him, talk to him since. It's like, you just showed me that my friendship is only valuable when there's nobody you trying to impress in the room.
So let me tell you that old saying that says you will find out how true a friendship is if opportunity presents itself and they put you in a ditch.
Boom. Yeah.
That is so true. It can be tested. Yeah. So I have to read this. Crystal says, Aaron, I guess you were never in the spelling bee. And then my mother, I remember being rejected as a child, not being picked on the baseball team in the neighborhood. I wasn't a good player, so I guess I understand now.
Wow.
People want to
Want to
win.
win.
So that's a good example of how you felt as a child, and now you're an adult, how you would have handled it. Which it makes a lot of sense. We don't process things like that as kids,
Right.
you know. Just like you think of little bitty things, like my maiden name was Graham. And I hated because my name was Keela Graham. And we would be in math class and they'd be like, 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram. And it would drive me up the wall. Like, Mom, why did you name me this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, call me whatever. K Solo, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
If I got kicked out of Sunday school now, I wouldn't be mad at all. Like, I could sleep an extra hour.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna jump right into letting our guests introduce ourselves, and I really want to talk about this subject because it's across the board with women and men, and it's really causing people to respond in the ways that they shouldn't respond. And where do we even start with teaching our kids? And that's why we have Patsy here, even adults nowadays, because.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us, nobody likes to be rejected, but it's a mature way to handle it.
Yeah.
So you guys, Patsy, start off first. Introduce herself. Tell us what all of those letters mean and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Patsy Herndon. I'm a licensed professional counselor, LPC, in 5 states. I'm a certified professional counselor supervisor. So I supervise clinicians that want to get full license, and NCC, which is a National Counselor Certified. So, of course, I've dealt with many different diagnoses from ages 3 all the way up to 99, all ages of individuals, co-occurring disorders. So, do you want me to introduce myself and then let him go? Then we'll talk?
Yeah. Okay, you go ahead, Tquan.
I'm Tquan Parks, owner of Parks Defensive Strategy, CPO training, NRA certified employee with the Detroit Police Department. And I am loving being a regular on all the way there.
Yes.
I love it. We love it because we have seen a lot of different hats for Tquan. So if you followed our podcast for a bit, he's been on here for a little bit of comedy, a little bit of marital stuff, a little bit of he kind of didn't put on quite a few different hats. So we appreciate you always coming back when we asked you to. So my mother, I'm going to say this one comment before we jump in. She said she was going to change her name to Dion, which Dion is my middle name, which is why sometimes we'll run into people from the old neighborhood and they say, hey, Dion. And people are like, well, who is Dion? I'm like, that's my name too. Right. So that's where that comes from. So let's
what
dive
street did you grow up on? I'm sorry.
You know, so I grew up on Warwick, and then that became the joke. Dion that live on Warwick. Dion.
Dion that live on Warwick that sell them kilograms.
Exactly. Man, you know what? I just had all kind of aliases, right?
Aaron, that was dirty, brother. That was dirty.
I know he went way low. When they go low, I'm gonna go lower.
Lower.
No time is coming. But listen, I want everybody to jump on board because rejection. First, what is rejection?
Well, it's basically, are you asking like what do we think rejection? Okay, anybody. So rejection is that when you expect something that you didn't get. That could be someone, that could be something, that could be a situation that it wasn't what you expected to be. So it's rejecting your original expectations of whatever it may be.
Okay. So that's the clinical definition.
Yeah.
What's rejection for the hood, Tquan?
Rejection from the hood is pain. It is the total opposite of feeling accepted.
Yeah.
When we feel
pleasure.
Accepted, it's like walking through a door that's not locked.
Yeah.
Just a little effort. Sometimes you can just push it and you walk right through. But rejection is a security gate with 3 deadbolts on it.
Oh.
you to look at yourself from the outside and say, what's wrong with me?
Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
something. You see how that police officer put all those locks on the door, though?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
he came
Exactly.
straight from his point. So we know we talked about last week mental health awareness, and we
Mhm.
know that lately there have been a lot of murder suicides happening with couples, and somebody deciding they want to leave. And the
Yeah.
other person, like, I don't want to see you with anybody else. If you can't be with me, you're not gonna be with somebody else. And
Mhm.
so we wanted to talk about kids and adults.
Mhm.
How do people gain control? Because this should be taught in the home.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
This really should be taught in the home. But with internet, it's so much happening. Even on the internet, you have so many internet bullies, adults
Mhm.
come on the internet because they feel rejected, so they make they post about whatever.
Mhm.
And how do we even? This could be such a broad subject, but I want somebody to help me narrow this in because I know where I'm trying to go. Aaron,
No, well, I don't know where you're trying to go. But this is listen. One of the questions I had too was, how does this rejection, either from not being accepted or not having this expectation, how did that how does that grind into a malady in mental health?
So let's just go back out. You always got to peel the onion back when we're talking about this, because parenting is a huge part
yeah,
of a person's ability to be able to handle rejection. It's a character builder. Parents build character in
Yes.
children. So just like when I was saying in elementary school, my parents, they always encouraged me that you're great, you're wonderful, you're smart. I can remember in first grade, the teacher telling my mom and dad that I didn't know this, that something's wrong with her. I think she had a learning disability. Oh, she's ADHD. Put her on some medication. My parents was like, there's nothing wrong with my child.
right.
She was a Caucasian teacher. And
Okay.
back in our days.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was like, there's nothing wrong with my baby. It's something wrong with you.
Right.
And she was like, we're not putting her on any medication and you're going to teach her. And it was just the funniest thing. One of my older sisters, she went there as a co-op student in high school. I used to have co-op, and she was the administrative assistant. And she asked, that lady was still working at my elementary school. And she was like, oh, you remember my little sister that you said da-da-da-da? And she's doing this and this and this now. But my parents always encouraged me. They always gave me the goods. Even when someone is rejecting me, such an authority figure, because a teacher's supposed to be there to encourage you.
Right.
They showed me, model,
Right.
this is how you handle it. Yes, you can be disappointed. Yes, it can make you sad, but it doesn't mean that you crawl into a corner and you get depressed. Because what happened is when we don't learn those healthy ways as a child to handle when someone doesn't want to be bothered, don't want to be our friend, don't want to come to our party or our house, we can go isolate and get into depression and spiral down. And that's what we do when we become adults, and we sit in our thoughts. And next thing you know, I'm in this corner all by myself and there's no way out. So I might as well go ahead and kill all of them, because I was reading some research. It's called sensitive rejection. People are really super sensitive rejection. They have no understanding of consequences. They figure that those consequences are worth it. Because I want them to hurt like I hurt. Even if it's my own life being cost, I'm going to hurt you like you hurt me. But they wasn't taught as a child that this is how you handle it. It's part of life. It's growth. What can you learn from this? Every teacher don't have your back.
No, they do not.
Yeah, you learn that. You know what I'm saying? So what do you learn from that? And I think parenting, like, parents need to be parents. It's a sacrifice.
Yeah, parents be parents and stop trying to take pictures on Facebook. Club pictures. Stop trying to take club pictures on Facebook and 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you got to say, we got to go back to some of these parents are still emotionally 7 years old. but they 30. So how I'm gonna
Mhm.
teach someone something that I don't
Right.
even know how to handle?
Yeah.
Because I go slice the girl's tires that cheated on my man with my man, and I'm gonna go slice her tires, but you dated him. Why you slicing somebody else's tires?
Right.
There it is.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So,
Man.
Mrs. Tquan, when you aren't accepted in the hood, what kind of cases do you come across, and you can boil it down to somebody just simply being rejected?
I mean,
How far does that go?
No, it's actually funny because Aaron, I wasn't quote unquote accepted in the hood because it goes back to what Patsy said. My mother had me and my brother in church 2-3 times a week.
Mm.
Whether it was Bible study, whether she had choir rehearsal, whether she had a meeting. When I came to the east side, my godmother, as I said, was a official in the church. So I was there for trustee meeting, council meeting.
You was there for everything.
Right.
I was like, pandemic, I can take 4 years off of church. I'm good. I wasn't accepted. I remember times hanging with my friends, and it would be Tuesday at 6, and my mother would come on the porch. This is before cell phones or anything. She had that universal mother communication. John and Quan, you look down the street, you see her, it's time to go to church. And everybody be like, y'all got to go to church. Y'all got And, for a while, we were the oddball kids.
Right.
Now I look back at it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a protecting mechanism.
Yeah.
Because the same kids that was laughing at me, I just looked one up the other day. I happened to come across his thing in Michigan Department of Corrections.
Oh.
And life ain't been nice.
Right.
Yeah, it's so tripped out that you say that.
Yeah.
Because that is so true.
Yes.
Rejected in the hood. Yeah, it stings because you're looked at as an oddity. But everything that we experience at the time we experience it, we won't understand because we don't have that mental maturity to understand that God moved us out of the place from some people at some times for our good.
That's right.
That's
right.
So true.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of got a little story like Tquan. We had to, most kids had to be back by the street lights, right?
I was one of them.
Well, not the kids on my street. So they had a little riddle. And they would be like, when the street lights come on, Kiki and Kiana is gone. And they would all chant it together. And it felt like I was walking down the hall of shame. Okay. Because I'm like, to that song, to this day, I hate that song. And just like Tquan say, when I really think back on some of the ones that were chanting, who was out there at midnight, 1 a.m, their lives haven't been that great.
Right.
I mean, there were a couple that made it out, but I'm talking about for the majority of it.
Right.
That is true.
Well, I gotta.
What Patsy was saying, parenting.
It is
parenting. Our parents, we didn't have cell phones, beepers, and all of that. When you heard that buzz and seen that light flip,
yes, they're buzzing
in front of that house or on that porch. Because if Pam come outside and you ain't there, Lord.
Yes, sir.
Mercy.
Yes, sir. That was the ultimate parenting thing. Them streetlights were like very good babysitters. But let me say this: what do you do when the people who are supposed to teach this stuff, and not so much parents but family, is the one that's rejecting you? And so somewhat similar story for me is like in part 1 where we talked. I said I used to go in my room and play a lot of jazz, but that was my coping mechanism for the rejection. As a child. So as a child, I was called a lot of names. Like one name was Fat Black. They used to call me Fat Black. Because I used to go outside and play all the time. And I used to get like crispy dark. Because I didn't care. I just wanted to play. And I was always a big guy. So they used to call me that, right? But if it wasn't for my dad was like, do you know why black people get so dark? I said, no. And he told me how melanin comes to the surface. to fight off the UV rays, and when it comes to the surface, it makes your skin darker than normal. And when it's not used, it'll go back to where it comes from. I was like, wow, we got that. He said, yeah. So I've never, ever, ever been scared to get a tan.
So you thought you were a superhero at that point.
Yeah, but if my dad never told me that, I probably would have been this older guy trying to hide from the sun.
Right.
You know, so I agree with you. But
hide from the sun or only date light skin and dog out brown skin.
Yeah,
that kind of silly.
Or bleach your own skin trying to be different.
Because you see that a lot.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with dating light skin. I mean, it's not about the battle of the complexion wars. But what I'm saying is sometimes that do come from rejection when they can talk about really bad about a brown skinned girl and they specifically prefer another color. That's something deep within. That's something
that is.
Yeah.
So
my question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead with your question.
My question was for a person who grew up like that, who is getting rejected by people who are supposed to protect them. What is the first thing you would tell them, or how do they supposed to cope?
So from the therapeutic perspective, or just basically wisdom, you got to find that, because it's always somebody in that family, that family unit that does accept you and encourage who you are. So my parents raised us different than a lot of my cousins. Did we get talked about a lot? We got called holy rollers because Wednesday we went to church, and on Tuesday night we had Bible study. Like my dad would pay us money to remember scriptures every week. You got your little dollar, like if you can remember the scriptures. So we got called holy rollers, you know. So, but my dad and my mom protected us from them. We went, we would go Christmas and everything, but it wasn't no everyday thing at all. So I always say, if you don't have a parent, you're going to have a grandma. You're going to have a godmama. You're going to have somebody that accepts, that you have to be open to and say, my family is not, they think I'm crazy. They not saying I belong. My sister is a teacher, and one of her students, she was a really, really good student, thriving. She was graduating, going to college, first to go to college. Her mom and her sister, she was a twin. They dogged her because she had dreams. She had aspiration. And guess who was her support? My sister. She still calls it today. She's like a junior in college. She still calls it, but that's what I'm saying. You hold on. She would call her and say they would beat her up. They would go and gang on her.
That's so
mom
sad.
and a sister.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but you gotta find, like, you have somebody that could accept you. Once you find that one accepting, you can make it through the rejection. Because all I gotta do is gotta get through this door and I'm gonna get accepted. Okay, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna get rejected, but I go through this door, I get accepted again. It keeps you moving.
Which makes me think about, Patsy, what we were talking about offline, because if a person like that isn't aware of this is where this come from, and that's how they end up in these relationships with these guys who are kind of feeding them. They're feeding them, but they're still abusive. You know what I mean? So they're feeding them enough to keep them pulled in, but they're still abusive. Which ends up in Tquan's department.
And part of that is a lot of these individuals we have to just call them what they are. They're predators.
Yes.
They won't hear the individual's backstory. He did this to you, or he treated you like this. And the chick twisted mentality is, got her. Because if I know what this individual did and what she was willing to put up with, if I just take it to a certain inch and then take her a different route, she ain't. And if she do, I'm gonna have to explain and show her why. If she leaves me, she won't be the same, whether living or not living.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
It's almost becoming commonplace now where women will give the wrong phone number or will give the right phone number and end up having to block someone.
Yeah.
Out of fear that if I don't give him this number, what's the consequences?
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
And it's sad. It's really sad. That's really something, Tquan, because predator, that word right there, people that prey on people. I remember being younger, actually coming out of my divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this guy that was trying to talk to me at the time tell another guy, and I overheard him talking, man, you just keep talking and you just keep dripping on it. And eventually they gonna break in. Be persistent. That's predator behavior.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
all the times I was telling you no, you still like, okay, I'm gonna come at this route. And I'm gonna come at this route.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see you weak.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like the perpetrator. Let's just go in the perpetrator's mind for 1 second. The perpetrator is a wounded individual as well, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And he is gaining control and what he can control. And it's like, oh no, I can conquer this. I can conquer this. And men naturally have egos.
Exactly.
Their egos are hunters to, just on the normal relationship thing. They got to woo you. You got to show that that you're worthy for me to even say, yeah, I have to go out with you. So that's their natural instinct. But just add that to a wounded individual. It's like, oh no, I don't accept. No, I'm going to take you all the way down to the point. And if I can't take you down, I'm going to take you.
Wow.
And
we can't forget, it's oftentimes lost because it's predicated majority of the time by men. But the one story that always gets me, and she's still free, the one lady who killed the tall, light-skinned brother and chopped him up and threw his
my
body
God.
up in Ohio.
That was devastating.
What?
Yeah.
She did.
And we look at it oftentimes because, like I said, it's mainly perpetrated by men on women.
Mm-hmm.
But you no matter what sex it is,
that's right.
Red flags. It's okay with being trying to the cat and mouse chase game,
right? Mm-hmm.
But know the signs.
That's right.
You say no. See, people they done said no before. No, all right. Well, have a good day, baby. You be good. I'm not about to go kill you. I'm not about to do none of that crazy. Don't love me to death.
That's right. But I think we got to teach our kids that you won't get everything you want in life.
That's it.
Everyone is not going to love you in life. You're not going to always be the top student. You have people that are 4.0 achievers their entire life, all through K-12, got 4.0. They get to college to get 1B and they freaking out and they feel like life is over. Like you got to teach your children that don't always exist.
Exactly. Like
and it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, everybody's not going to be your friend. Everybody's not going to want you that you want, and it's okay. And just like, a lot of people have problems with their little the little kids, baseball, soccer teams give everybody a reward.
I'm giving our participation trophy.
I don't agree with that.
But that goes back to rejection.
It does.
Yeah. And it feeds them that you're gonna always get because what you want.
It was a parent in one of them groups that said, well, I should have gotten an award because I was there. And so now I'm going to make sure all these kids get an award. Everybody gets an award. And it's not the way you do it. And that's why you develop these entitled mindsets.
Yes.
Like and I was telling Aaron this. We were just talking about this the other day. When Angel was in tap dance, she was in tap dance for a lot of years.
Right.
And so one of the parents decided to we're going to go out and get everybody trophies, because what she did was she would give kids who had been dancing with her so long a trophy, and at the end of recital she would present them, right? Well, one parent got upset and was like, no, we're just going to go out and order everybody trophies and we'll give them to our own kids, right?
That's terrible.
We came in that dance class the next week. And when I say she went up one side of us and went down the other side of us, okay? She was this 80-year-old woman who could still tap dance her butt off. So I can't imagine what she was like when she was younger.
Oh, wow.
But she said, listen, it's a reason why I do that. Because it makes the kids work harder and it teach them to be better students. So when they can look forward to getting this trophy, it makes them want to come to class because they have something to work for. So if you're giving them a trophy after every recital, then they get lazy.
Yeah.
So
Just
stop
like when,
doing that.
just like Jill Biden invited the losing basketball team, women's basketball team to the White House.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Because you don't want them to feel rejected. They didn't win. The winners go to the White House. What is the problem? It's been like that for hundreds of years. So why would you? Come on,
And
Jill.
I love that the winning team was like, deuces. We ain't coming either.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't even give us the respect to acknowledge that we were the winners. It's never been like this. So now we got to share a table.
But that's the situation that we're in now. I call them tender Tommies. Those are the men, and tender Tinas. Those are the women. Think about this. When we were growing up, my mother had a rule, and it might have been borderline child abuse, God rest her soul. But my mother's rule was wherever you act up, that's where you get it at. Okay. So if we went the King's Way, because that was our store. I thought it was a department store. I ain't know.
You said Kingsway. Woo, that's way back.
Yeah, but Aaron, you might remember something called a burning key car. You stick a plastic key in the back of this car and you squeeze it, and the car shoots off.
Yeah.
My mother had a rule. When we go in this store, don't ask nothing. Don't touch nothing. And stay right. If you tell them to go into they're not like that anymore.
No.
They do not.
I've seen parents open up chips before paying for them and give the kid just to get them off the floor. And I looked at the kid, and I got 4. The last one just graduated the other night. I look at him like, I wish you, man.
But you know what? The system has, and parents allowed it. That's what I'm gonna say. But the system has taken away parenting, and that's what makes your job hard. Because you emotionally abuse your kid. Now I ain't saying you call your kid no name, you don't do all that. But if I yell at you and say, "Look, I'm not emotionally abusing you because I called your name 3 times lightly, and I shouldn't have had to do it 3 times. The 4th time, you hurt me."
Right.
Emotional abuse. And then if I spank you and it leaves a welt, maybe because you're a little lighter, now I'm getting the teacher calling or the school counselor calling DFACS. The DFACS come in my house to check and see if I got this. But I'm going to have to go right back to its parenting. You don't raise an 8-9-year-old.
Right.
You reinforce an 8-9-year-old. You raise
starts,
a 1, a 2,
as
a
baby.
3, a 6 month. That's who you raise. And when they're 8, 9, you reinforce it.
Right. My grandson is 1.5 years, and the other day he was opening up the cabinets, and my daughter looked at him and said, "William, no, close it." He looked up and he closed it back while he was looking at it. I went through a situation where I whooped my son. He obtained one of my firearms and shot a hole in the wall.
Ooh.
So I figured, since we doing grown folks stuff, let me introduce you to the shockwave of this belt. Well, his aunt called CPS. Next thing I know, they about to take my EMS license, all that. When I went to court, I had Judge Freddie Burton. I said, let me tell you something. He's 12. If I don't correct his behavior now at 12, the police can shoot him at 13.
Exactly.
Yes.
He said, listen, Mr. Parks, I'm only up here because I was raised and parented the exact way of what you're doing. He said, unfortunately, the system now, those some who aren't parents, write the rules and the laws. So I told him, I said, let me tell you this, Your Honor, in all respect. The moment I can't discipline my child, I can leave him here. He can go home with you.
I know that's right.
He threw the case out, but my son, got an understanding.
Right.
For every action, it's a reaction.
Yep.
And I'm gonna give you what you order.
And honestly, he lucky he just got the belt.
That's
Because
right.
that was serious.
That
But you
was
had
big.
to show him, you know?
Yeah.
And then this is a different angle. So, Patsy, you probably can address this. Rejection from family members has a different feel than rejection from your peers. It's sometimes jealousy at a high level.
Yeah, it does, because that's where your affirmation naturally supposed to come from is from those caregivers and your family. But you are going to go through a journey. But I always know and I believe God always places people in your life to fill those gaps. That doesn't mean the gap is not going to be hard, but He always fills it up with someone that can help you heal. Because you are going to be having some pain, some brokenness, but there's always going to be somebody there to heal. And sometimes, unfortunately, our friends can become our family.
Yeah.
And then we have to let go of family just because they're blood, but they not helping you be whole mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually.
Right.
And when you have that, you have to know when to just be done with that. And Doris, I had an experience from a family member. We didn't even hang out. I had responsibilities early in life. 13 taught me responsibility as a dog. I still do not know why. I mean, who knows? Sometimes people be jealous that you're responsible. They be jealous that you have certain things or their life is not quite like yours. You know, you look at people and to this day, and I know we probably all have experienced this on this panel. You'll look at a person, they'll treat you a certain way. And then as you become older, you start realizing like, well, why are you jealous of me? You got all of this going on. You have all of this going on. I don't have as nearly as much as you.
That's right.
Why are you jealous of me?
Exactly.
But it is something that they did not get that you have. And sometimes it is as simple as everybody like you.
Yes.
Or it can be you have drive, you have purpose.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
You have the
resiliency,
spiritual abilities put into you by God to shine naturally. Like Aaron just said about the brother at the gas station. He wanted to unscrew your light bulb so his could shine.
Right. Right.
But when you have that in you, and I learned this, my bishop, the late Bishop Stephen Bennett, God rest his soul, he said, if you start the year off with 5 haters, you should finish with 10.
No, that's real.
Yeah, because it's going to increase. But you know what? That goes as far as if I'm willing to take your light bulb, Aaron, so mine can shine. That's how we get to people killing people.
Absolutely.
Because they went on with someone else. Because it's like, no. I gotta live too. I need some joy too. And you can't have this joy, and I not have any. Oh, I'm taking it at all costs. And you know, it's like they really got to realize you got drive, but your drive is in a derogatory way.
Exactly.
You just shift it. You know?
Yeah.
You shift it.
Come over to the softer side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because your purpose, your aim, goal, and purpose is somewhere that it doesn't line up. It doesn't align with what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
So right quick, between Patsy and Tquan, what are some red flags that people need to be looking for as far as we're going to look for some red flags, somebody that's dealing with rejection that you're dealing with and you want to avoid that. And some things that you should be trying to do to get past rejection. So I know that's a lot. And I know it's a little bit of time.
Okay.
But what are some signs, first of all, that we should look for when we're dealing with people who have been rejected and we're trying to protect ourselves?
I would have to say, and I know this sounds weird, because you do affirm people, but constant affirmation, constantly that they want you to be the yes man, yes woman. Like you can't say I disagree, that's a problem because we are two different individuals. I think different than you think.
Exactly.
But they constantly want you to be yes. And then another one, this is crazy, but another one. If they don't like somebody, they don't want you to like them. Like so and so did this to me, so you gotta not do anything with them. They gotta be the enemy of the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, they ain't did nothing to me. They nice to me. I ain't no problem. But they want you to be mad at them and discount them as a person as well because they are upset with them. I know it's more you know, and I say look at family. Look at friends. Look at family. Look at friends. Listen to what they say about their childhood. Because I'm telling you, that's going to tell you how they going to take it. When you say, no, I want to go out. I want to hang out with my girlfriends tonight. That's going to tell you how they going to take that information on how they deal with. And if they don't have no friends, why you don't have no friends?
No, seriously, that's important. And I'm going to tell you, people be so quick to jump into stuff. But baby, if you slow down, people will tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, show you it.
And they will definitely show you. Slow down. Please slow down. I promise you don't have to, like Tquan used last week, get locked in.
Yeah.
Before you get locked in. So Tquan, what's some on your end? Some red flags people should be looking for?
I would say it goes back to a little what Patsy was saying. If you look at it, if you're dealing with an individual, you meet an individual, and they have absolutely no healthy friendships. Healthy, you know, it's always this person or it's always that person. That's a red flag, number one. But number two, the label makers.
Oh, yes.
Put a label on an individual so that they can make you take blame for their inadequacies. The moment you decide that, no, I don't want to be bothered with this, your labels, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
That other part of rejection, here's another side of rejection. You're this, you're that. The reason this is because of you. No. Own your stuff.
Blaming. They blame.
Absolutely, Patsy.
I like that.
Yeah, they do. They blame you. They definitely blame. But then if you are a person that, like, you see those red flags, don't be in denial. Accept it. That this is what's going on. And you figure out, let me be, and that deals with being honest with yourself. Being honest is, this is real. What do I do with what I just discovered?
And you know that one line that everybody always repeat, but it is one of the truest, is when people show you who they are,
believe it the first time.
Believe it.
The first time.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Because I promise it's who they are. So now
can I say one thing?
Yep.
Once you see it and you accept it, don't think you can change it.
Oh, yeah.
Please don't.
And it go back, Patsy, to what you say. Look at their childhood.
Yep.
Look at their childhood. It wasn't until I started going to counseling that I realized that the one person I despised the most, which was my mother's husband, I was adapting some of the same mental tendencies. Once I realized it, I was like, oh, hell no.
Right. I'm not accepting that.
Let me change me for me.
That's right.
So I don't become the monster that I don't like.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I know everybody don't spend time in prayer or whatever your beliefs are. But I'm a firm believer that you should take some self-inventory.
That's right.
And another thing is if I know people don't like to believe this, but if 10 people are telling you this,
yes, ma'am,
this is probably what it is.
Yes, ma'am.
So stop assuming that everybody is wrong about you and start being real with yourself.
Or if you've been told something from grade school and you a grown up now, there's probably a good chance there's some truth to it.
Yeah, this is probably who you are, and just address it and try to grow from that. Like, everybody is not out to get you.
Right.
I promise.
Yes.
Everybody ain't out to get you. We all trying to just grow and live in this world and be whatever God told us to be. So really quick, some things for people that are trying to heal from that?
As I said, being honest, taking accountability for yourself, because when we have been, rejected,
Mhm.
we have to be accountable for ourselves that, okay, maybe I put myself in that position, or maybe I didn't accept it for what it is. Take your accountability in that position that you got in, and then figure out, what can I learn from this? What did I learn? Everything is a learning experience in life. What
That
can I
is true.
learn to move on to the next one, or
That
to
is
move
so
on to the
true.
next step in life? Just like that job interview I didn't get. I was like, I learned that I trust God. If God say no,
Exactly.
it was blocked for a reason. Don't you get upset, girl.
Right.
He blocked it for a reason. I learned from that rejection.
And what rejection is your protection, like, however the cliche goes. Sometimes that is exactly what it is.
Right.
Because sometimes people be telling you no, and if they had said yes, you would wish they had said no.
They know. Exactly.
So you got to just learn. And I like what Kendra just said right here. This is so true. Listen to what people say and watch their actions. And if it doesn't line up, turn and walk the other way.
That's
and that
right,
is so
Kendra.
true.
That's
Sometimes
right.
it doesn't line up. But that's why I say it goes back to, if about 4 or 5 people said this and they don't know each other, it's probably true. And maybe you should just react accordingly, okay?
Yeah.
For yourself. Take some self-inventory. So I'm going to just say this, because we got to close, and this was such a great show. I'm so glad both of y'all came.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Please, go get therapy. If you had extreme rejection in your life that you don't think that you can't handle rejection well, go to therapy. Learn some coping skills. Learn the barriers that's keeping you from being able to use those coping skills, because rejection is part of life. It's going to continue till you take your last breath.
Get you, and this works for me, might not work for everybody, but I'm telling you, from a scarred little piece of fruit, along with therapy, get connected to a spiritual lifeline.
Yes, sir.
A counselor only gonna take you so far.
I totally agree.
Yes,
but
I agree.
2, 3, 4 o'clock in the mornings when you gonna have to cry your eyes out literally to God.
That's right.
Ask him to take away pain.
That's
hurt,
right.
And that's when he gonna teach you how to trust him. When you
Yes.
nobody else, all you got is God, and that's all he needs.
That's right. That's right.
And they just said the challenge. Patsy said get some counseling, and on the clinical side, and Tquan said get some counseling on the spiritual side. That's the challenge.
And I guess my closeout words, because Patsy said get some counseling. Those are her closeout words. I feel like, I'm gonna tell you something. If somebody don't want you, the job don't want, they look you over.
That's right.
You didn't get the house. You didn't get approved for the car. Right. Whatever it is you feel put you in this bad space, it is, I promise you, it is not the end of the world.
That's right.
And what you do is you learn how to get up, pick up the pieces, and you move forward. Let people live their life. And I'm going to tell you, my dad taught me this a very long time ago, and it is one of the truest things ever. The best way to get back at somebody is to live well. And I promise, when they are looking over your life and seeing that you still shining, regardless of whether you see them again, sometimes that bothers people. It bothers people more than what you ever could do. So live well in your life, do good, be be a shining star, do all of those great things, and just let people go on about their life and do whatever they do.
That's right.
You're not supposed to be connected to everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. And remember not to judge a little kid because he wrote lick instead of like.
Guys, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. It was such an awesome show. Tquan, whatever you do, don't hang up.
I ain't touching no button.
Okay. So we'll talk to you guys later. We'll say it again. We'll see you guys next Sunday.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye, y'all.